the East Coast, not to mention the taxes, especially where I live, pretty high. So, it is
Yeah.
what it
Yep.
is. But anyway, welcome to another episode of the Sports PSP podcast. I'm your boy Sports PSP. Hope everyone's enjoying a fantastic Friday. Hope everyone is having a great day, coming off a great day at work, enjoying the rest of the weekend. And of course, the rest of us, we're going to be celebrating the weekend. College football is back. And we got one of my good friends, Mitch Kofsky, who is the co-founder of the Hardcore Sports Network, back on the Sports PSP podcast. How you doing, Mitch?
I'm doing good, dude. I'm doing good. I had a long week, long stressful week, but I'm here. So let's do this. I'm excited.
Let's do this. And of course, last week he was not here last week because he had to attend the Atlanta Falcons game and a lot of other festivities. But at the same time, I can't blame him. Undisputed world champ. And please go check out his podcast. Great podcast he had last night. How you doing, brother?
I'm going good, man. It's good to be back, man. Missed the PSP podcast last week because I had to go see my Atlanta Falcons. We got drugged, but it was still a good experience, man, for the preseason. But hey, man, I got to stop going to these preseason games, man. They are 0-5 every time I go to a preseason game. So Atlanta, I'm gonna stop doing that to y'all during the preseason. So man, good to be back, man.
Mm-hmm. Got a comment right here from Danielle Barry Sports Highlights. What's up? Shout out.
That's my guy, Daniel, man. What is up?
Yeah, man. Let's talk about NFL, man. CeeDee Lamb, his contract. He got his big contract with the Dallas Cowboys. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys. Isn't he the second highest non-paid quarterback in the NFL?
If I'm not mistaken, yes. I'm looking it up right now.
I think he is. Yeah, I think he is.
You look at, the Cowboys, they had to take care of CeeDee Lamb because first of all, they'd be foolish not to take care of him. Because look, they got CD, Micah, and Dak they got to take care of. Without CeeDee Lamb in that offense, it's going to be hard for Dallas to produce. And on top of that, they also brought in Dalvin Cook, another veteran running back for the team. I don't think that's a good sign for Dallas, though, because, again, they need young running backs. They need somebody to help out. And when you look at CeeDee Lamb, he's deservedly so of the contract. The last 3 seasons, 3 consecutive seasons, Pro Bowl, best year of his career in receptions, yards, TDs. I'm very happy, of course, because I'm an OU guy, even though he plays for the Dallas Cowboys. He did go to my school, Oklahoma, and shout out to OU. First time in the SEC. Hopefully we do some things well. I have no problem with CeeDee Lamb getting his contract. So, and again, 5 years ago, Jerry Jones, he said, Zeke who? Remember when Ezekiel Elliott got before he got his contract? So Jerry Jones is known for making these types of statements before, but eventually CeeDee Lamb was going to get his money because CeeDee Lamb has already established himself as a top 5 wide receiver. Some may argue maybe top 3. Who knows? But when you look at his production, when you look at what he means to the team, and he wears 88, that's a very special number. Drew Pearson, Michael Irvin, Des Bryant, some of the greats who've played for the Dallas Cowboys. That number carries a lot of weight and a lot of responsibility. So, that's big for the Dallas Cowboys. Mitch, I'm going to let you go first. What are your thoughts about the CeeDee Lamb contract?
Overpaid. I really think it got overpaid. What is up, Philly Special Cards? That's my guy, Spongy. Shout out to him. It's
Shout
just
out.
hilarious because, the whole thing with the drama, him holding out and everything. Now you do it, but what about Dak Prescott and Michael Parsons? I don't think they're all going to stay after this year. I think one of them or both of them might be gone. Might be last season with all 3 of those guys. So that's how I look at it.
Hey, I can honestly say this. I don't think he got overpaid. I think he got paid what a receiver of his caliber got. Remember, he almost won the Triple Crown last year. And remember, without him in that offense, those other receivers were very, very lackluster. Now, you did have Brandon Cooks. He's serviceable, but he's not an air specialty type. So he's going to get you where you need to be, but he's not going to put you over the top. As far as him getting his contract, CeeDee Lamb, I have no problem with that. My thing is this: you're going to lose somebody. You're going to lose somebody. Either you're going to lose your best defensive player or you're going to lose your quarterback at this point in time. And, hey, I hate to say it, but it's up to you. It's up to you who you lose at this point, because the thing is this: you can't sign everybody. Or it's the 49ers proving that you can sign everybody, because they've re-signed their entire roster right about now, and they still got $61 million in cap space. So anything's possible when you got the right person at the helm. So the thing is this: hey, good job on getting your money. You're gonna need it. You're gonna need a receiver like CeeDee Lamb is this division, because you have, when it comes to receivers, this division is loaded. You know, you got AJ Brown, you have Dotson, who just got traded. Sorry, PSP. You have Terry McLaurin. You got a little bit of everybody. This is a loaded division when it comes to receivers. And if anybody needs CeeDee Lamb right about now in order to prove that he is the one that needs to be staying, is Dak Prescott. He needs CeeDee Lamb right about now on that offensive side of the ball. Because if he expects to get paid that NBA caliber contract that he's expecting, which is, I believe everybody's saying is going to be upwards to like $70 million, if he hopes to get paid that, he needed CeeDee Lamb on that field with him at this point in time. So I think that it was good that he got it. Hey, receivers are getting paid now, man. It used to be the running backs getting paid. Now I see these big-time receivers, man. I'm loving what I'm seeing. But, guys, that needed CD. And that is why Jerry got him signed. Hey, it's only a question now. Who you going to lose? You're going to lose Mika, or you're going to lose Dak in the next year. Micah, excuse me. I can never pronounce his damn name, man. But, yeah, it's only a question. You're going to lose one. But it's only a question is, who are you willing to lose and who is more valuable to that team? Only time will tell. But, hey, if you're going to lose out on Dak, now's the perfect time. You saw what just happened last night. Colorado. Hey.
And we're going to talk about them later on the show. But CeeDee Lamb's contract is a 4-year, $136 million per year deal to make him the second highest paid receiver in the NFL, second highest non-quarterback in the NFL, only behind the Minnesota Vikings, Justin Jefferson. But we got another guest on the show, our boy Grant. Man, how you doing?
It's good to see y'all boys. Good to see y'all boys.
We got one more guest on the show. Our boy BRF Sports. How you doing, guy?
I'm doing all right, man. How's everybody doing this evening?
Good, man. We're just talking about CeeDee Lamb's contract. Grant, I'm gonna let you go. What are your thoughts about the Cowboys giving CeeDee his money?
You know, I said this when this whole thing was going down. I knew someone was going to get the raw end of the stick with this, because when you have 3 top caliber players on that team, you're going to have to make sacrifices. And I think they overpaid? Yes, because paying him $100 million guarantee to give him a $38 million signing bonus, and he's going to get an average annual salary of about like $34 million. I just don't know. I feel like somebody is going to get screwed. And if it's Dak or if it's Micah, that's just going to cost them. But the whole thing just seems weird to me that he would hold out and then they're like, you know what, let's go ahead and pay him. And I understand you can't lose CD. Like we all have to completely understand. If they gave up CD, that's like a huge blow to that offense. But my biggest concern with this move is, like, if they were willing to pay him this much, they had to have seen that they had to put a lot of trust in him. And my biggest concern is, if this move doesn't work, I believe that this move is going to work fine. I think it's too much, because I think the risk is not worth the reward, because I feel like Dallas is in a situation where you have three top caliber players, and you're essentially now in a position where you're going to have to basically throw one to the wolves. And I don't like that, because I feel like, even though I feel like the game is moving towards highly more offensive rated players, it's going to feel bad. In my honest opinion, I think Micah's about to get the raw end of this deal, and he's going to be gone. And because unless they extend Dak, which I have a hard time feeling like they're going to do unless Jerry Jones has like some sort of epiphany, which I have a hard time doubting that's going to happen. But it sucks because I feel like I'm looking at Micah right now, and when he's going to ask for his money, they're going to have to giving it all to CD and Dak, and it sucks. But I don't think this move was smart to pay him that amount of money. I wouldn't have gotten to 134 million. But if that's what they think they need to be able to keep that offense at the top level of that division, then they have to do it. I just wouldn't have paid it that much. I think it's too much of a risk. And I don't think for CeeDee Lamb, after all the kind of craziness we had, holding him out and now getting this crazy contract, I just think it's crazy that Jerry Jones decided to pay him that money. But that's just my opinion.
Before I let BRF Sports go, I want to shout out to Philly Special Cards, Mitch's guy. He has a comment right here. Micah, the future Eagle. Hey, you never know. Micah Parsons used to play at Penn State, and to Champ's point, the Washington Commanders, they just traded Jahan Dotson to the Philadelphia Eagles. So you never know. The Philadelphia Eagles, at one point, they were the Philadelphia Bulldogs. Now they're the Philadelphia Nittany Lions. So BRF Sports, what are your thoughts about the CeeDee Lamb getting his money? What do you thought about Jerry Jones ultimately giving him his money? 4-year, $136 million.
This move tells me, Dak Prescott, we wish you well in your future endeavors. That's what this tells me. That's what this tells me. Dak's gone. Dak's gone. I mean, this tells me Jerry Jones would rather go with a youth movement. You keep CD, you would be stupid not to keep Micah Parsons at this point. I think Micah Parsons, if I'm Micah Parsons, I'm smiling because Jerry Jones has basically said, yeah, I'm going with the youth movement. One of them's got to go. I'm keeping Micah Parsons and I'm letting Dak walk because I think Jerry Jones is starting to get a glimpse of the potential of what the quarterback draft is going to be next year and how it's going to be loaded down next year. And I think he's going to take a shot and he's going to draft one of them next year. That's what I think is going to end up happening because I think there's going to be enough to where even if they don't have even if they're not like a top 10, like top half of the first round team, which I don't think they're going to be, I think there's going to be enough quarterbacks that's going to be available in the draft to where I think they're going to snag one. If not the first, maybe the second, but I think they're going to, one of their first picks is going to be a quarterback next year. I think Dak Prescott is gone after this. If I'm him, I'm playing this for my next deal. I'm playing like I'm not coming back. And I'm scoping out the competition in the offseason. That's what this move tells me. I think this is Dak Prescott's last year as a Cowboy. And it's funny because when Champ remembers too, when we did the podcast, I think the question was posed, who do you let go between Dak, CD, and Micah? I said CD. From the standpoint, I feel like the wide receiver position is one of those is probably like one of those positions where you can go by committee and still get pretty good production without necessarily having a true number one receiver. But with CeeDee Lamb getting his money, Dak's not coming back. And like I said, Jerry Jones is probably gonna looking at this saying, okay, I got one young guy. I might as well just keep my other young guy, keep Micah Parsons, give him his money, because we know how much of a premium pass rushing is in the league nowadays with how offensively driven the league is nowadays. You got to have guys that can rush the passer, can get to the quarterback and sack the quarterback, and can get their defense off the field and get their offense back on the field. So I think, this move tells me Dak Prescott's gone. And this is Jerry Jones doing his best John Laurinaitis and wishing him well in his future endeavors is what this is telling me. Dak Prescott's gone after this.
Well, we kind of had the feeling that Dak Prescott was kind of leaving because, again, either that or you're going to have to pay him $60-70 million. And, if Dak Prescott were producing, if he were like a top 5, top 3 quarterback, if he were in the same conversation like with Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert, Lamar Jackson, you're not letting go of Dak Prescott. I just think with Dak, he's seen enough. And the bigger problem, I've said it before and I've said it again, and Dallas Cowboys, look, y'all can get mad at me all y'all want. I don't care. You're not winning anything with Jerry Jones running the show. You're not. You're not. As the owner, as the GM, look, Jerry's a great businessman. I give him a ton of credit. I've said it before, champ, about Mike McCarthy. I don't want to dwell on the past. With Mike McCarthy, the only reason why he was there is because, again, Jerry wants a yes man. Heck, he invited him over to the crib for beer and nachos. So, I mean, ain't nothing wrong with beer and nachos, folks. Let me set that for the record. But my thing is, with Jerry, he's not going to change. Jerry's going to continuously do whatever he wants to do, and the Dallas Cowboys, they're going to go as far. Let's talk about Brandon Ayuk.
Oh, I got some.
Oh, you know what, Grant? I'm gonna let you go first.
I got some
What are your
words for
thoughts
it.
about the deal?
Oh my. Okay, you know what? Let's just start this from the top. 3 months, actually, not even 3. 5 months. 5 months we sat here and listened to all this rumors. He's going to New England. He's going to Pittsburgh. The Pittsburgh deal's gonna happen. This and that. You sign him to like 140. Look, and this. I got to a point. I'm not even gonna lie. Where I was just like, if I had a guy like him that was holding out, I would have just said, I know it's stupid, but I would have said sayonara because I couldn't do it anymore. Like they weren't going to, I honestly thought they were just going to let him walk. And in all honesty, I wouldn't have been surprised if they did. But the fact that they paid him a $12 million contract for 4 years, and he's gonna get like a heck of a lot more than that. Excuse me, not 12 million. I'm losing my mind. 120 million,
76 million in guarantees.
It's insane. And look, I think they need Brandon Ayuk because I think that he is one of their key pieces on that offense that they absolutely need. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and act like he's not. He's one of the key pieces. I didn't realize I would not have gone down this route. I understand you had to pay him, but the fact that you paid him that much money is insane because now it's making me ask if this is how much they're going to pay their wide receiver, like, what are they going to do with Brock Purdy? Like, I'm just saying, like, you have to think about it. If they're paying Ayuk $120 million after holding out for 5 months, what do you think they're going to do when Brock Purdy contract comes around? It's going to break the bank and be the highest QB contract in NFL history. I swear. It's going to happen. If Brock has another season like he did last year and when his contract runs out, I'm telling you, they're going to break the bank. And I'm not saying that this is a bad move because, again, like I said, I feel like I'm repeating myself. You can't really – that offense doesn't function as well as it does if you don't have Brandon Ayuk. I just thought it was going to be he was going to go to Pittsburgh. And if he went to Pittsburgh,
there was even speculation that he would possibly go to Washington just because to reunite with Jaden Daniels. And I'm like, that wasn't going to happen.
Yeah, that's never going to happen. But all honesty, like, I'm glad they finally got this settled because I'm tired of opening up Twitter every day and having to see some other random Brandon Ayuk rumor. But it's crazy that they paid him $120 million. So, I mean, this is going to be – I'm glad they got the deal done, but 5 months of holding out for this, it feels like it's like you're seeing this right now, and Jamar Chase is probably sitting there stewing over it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because he's trying to, because y'all forget, he's trying to get paid too.
Oh,
and
yeah.
if that's how much they're gonna pay Brandon Ayuk, I'm just saying they're gonna have to pay Jamar something out of this world.
Don't forget, Grant, they got to take care of T. Higgins.
T. Higgins ain't staying.
Oh no,
he's
gone.
gonna leave.
Oh, he's
Eventually,
gone. There's
he's going to leave.
I think he's leaving. There's no way you're going to stay There's no way you're going to stay because when they pay Jamar, this is going to be a hot take, and y'all are going to hate this. I don't care. It's going to break Jefferson's record payment. I feel like
that's not a hot take.
Oh no, it's going to.
That's not a hot take.
Not like when I'm saying. Not when I'm saying like I'm not saying like higher than that. I'm thinking like 30 million higher than what he got paid. 30, 40.
Still not a
That's
hot
not
take.
It's still not a hot take.
I just think it's gonna be crazy when they pay him because they're gonna shatter the bank. But look, Brandon Ayuk needed to stay, and the fact that they finally got this deal done is it's good, but just crazy that it was 120 million.
BRF.
The piggyback off of that, I think Jamar Chase is probably gonna end up getting 40 million a year. To be honest with you, it wouldn't shock me at all. Jamar Chase is breaking records when he get his contract, so we might as well just get prepared for that. But I was actually one of those that called Brandon Ayuk staying in San Francisco. I wasn't shocked at all because I just felt like it was drawn out too much, and it just got to a point where the trade value. I mean, it was like, okay, yeah. The one thing I heard that was interesting was I think what came out about I think what the Broncos were willing to take. The Broncos were willing to take a third for Cortland Sutton or something like that. And then the Steelers were going to do the deal for Brandon Ayuk. And then when the Broncos said no, the Steelers were like, okay. And then they just, and then that was it, or something. Yeah, it was something like that. But yeah, I wasn't shocked, but I really wasn't shocked by this at all. And another thing is, he did all that just to take the initial contract that John Lynch offered him in the first place. So it's like you did all that just to take the exact same contract you were offered from the get-go. So that's why I kind of feel like I think, and ultimately, I mean,
all this for nothing.
If you want. Exactly, all this for nothing. And I mean, and I feel like if you're serious about wanting to win, you might as well stay in San Francisco anyway. That's your best shot. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think he would improve the Pittsburgh Steelers had he gone there. But I mean, even if he goes there, I'm still looking at them third best team in the division. I'm still looking at them as the third best team in the AFC North behind Baltimore and Cincinnati. So I mean, he made the right choice staying, but I do kind of feel like us as following the league, as following sports and all that stuff, we wasted a lot. I feel like we wasted a lot of breath talking about this because ultimately he did what me personally I felt he was going to do in the first place, which was stay in San Francisco because they're the best opportunity for him to win and possibly get a Super Bowl, which they are one of the prohibited favorites in the NFC to get back to the Super Bowl. So I mean, he made the right choice in taking that money with a team that's giving him the best chance to win. So I'm not surprised at all that he ended up staying.
Mitch,
I'm not surprised that he's staying. I mean, when you look at Debo and you look at Ayuk, Debo does everything. Like, he runs, he catches, he's in the backfield, he does everything. Ayuk is actually the better true wide receiver. The true wide receiver is Brandon Ayuk in the red zone. That's where he shines. So give him the ball. It's perfect. Him and McCaffrey are going to do well. Same with George Kittle. I wanted him to go to the Steelers to get him out of the NFC so the Eagles have a clearer path. But it is what it is, man. Ayuk is still on the 49ers.
saving the best for last. Champ.
In the great words of Nick Nolte off of Blue Chips, those guys have got the best players money can buy. The best players money can buy. And that's what I've been saying all year when it came to San Francisco. They got the best team money can buy. And I'm just going to be real, man. Them keeping Brandon Ayuk was pivotal, man. And depending on if Ricky Pearsall can finally get healthy, I know he's a rookie. It's going to be interesting to see what Brock Purdy does with all of these weapons. I mean, all of these guys are under contract for years to come. I mean, you don't have any free agents. I mean, they just re-signed Christian McCaffrey. The only person I'm really worried about as far as, you know, this offseason comes along is really Trent Williams. But as far as everybody else, they've taken care of everybody else. They're signed for at least the next 2 to 3 years. So they're going to have a couple chances to run it back. So, I mean, it's pretty much Super Bowl or bust for them at this point. I mean, like I said before, out of every team in the NFC, it's pretty much like a 3-man race. It's them, the Eagles, and I will say I would say Detroit. And then the rest of the conference, you can line them up where you want to come. So I mean, I won't mention the Atlanta Falcons because I don't want to speak too soon. But the thing is this: it's 3-man race. Those are the big three as far as the top 3 teams. And I put the San Francisco 49ers right at the top. Now, hey, look, you got these tools. We don't want to hear no more excuses. You no longer have any distractions. No more distractions if you're going to keep one of your better receivers. You don't have a distraction over your head about keeping Christian McCaffrey. You re-signed him. Debo got paid. Everybody who is pretty much the catalyst of that team has gotten paid, and you added a piece in Ricky Pearsall. I don't want to hear no more excuses if the 49ers don't win it in the next at least 2 years. I don't want to hear anything else. I don't want to hear nothing about Kyle Shanahan, about none of that, because the thing is, like I said, you got the best team money can buy. The only team that's outspending you when it comes to these players is the Cleveland Browns. And the sad thing about that is they still got damn near $30 million of cap space left. I don't know how John Lynch does it. So, Super Bowl or bust.
I'm just going to try my best. I promise myself, look, I'm on my second DiSerrano right now. Brandon jinxed me. I told him we weren't going to get Brandon Ayuk. Brandon, the only reason I love Brandon from the block, shout out to Brandon from the block. He kept thinking that Brandon Ayuk was going to go to Washington to reunite with Jaden Daniels. That wasn't going to happen because we already took care of Terry McLaurin, and he's our number 1 wide receiver. Brandon Ayuk, if he would ever go to another franchise, he would want to be a number 1 wide receiver. I thought Pittsburgh would have been a great location for him because, look, they have Justin Fields and Russell Wilson there. He can establish himself as a number 1. But look, thank God we can end all the speculation, all the stuff about Brandon Ayuk. Where is he going to go? We knew he was going to leave Cleveland. I think, guys, correct me if I'm wrong, he exercises no trade clause just to not get traded to Cleveland.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So my thing is, look, man, this is bad if you're the Commanders because you didn't get Brandon Ayuk, and then on top of that, you traded Dotson of all places to Philadelphia. You're giving him to another weapon in Philadelphia.
Thank you for that. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Early Christmas gift. Okay, thank you. Christmas already in Philadelphia. Already hell in New Jersey and DC right now.
Hey, it's bright in this part of Jersey. I don't know what you're talking about, bro. I'm in Jersey.
I live in North
Jersey.
Over
here.
I live in North Jersey.
I'm in South. It's bright over here.
Listen, man. Look, and to Grant's point, you're gonna have to figure out what you're gonna do with Brock Purdy. Now, Brock Purdy, if he can replicate another year like he had last season, you're gonna have to pay him. Dolphins, they already paid Tua Tagovailoa, despite the durability issues, all the things that transpired under the Dolphins. Now, look, Brian Flores, it was reported that he wanted Justin Herbert in the draft. The Dolphins decided to go with Tua. So, look, I'm glad that the speculation is over with Brandon Ayuk. We can focus now on football. And if you take him out of the equation in San Francisco, I still think they'll be okay, but he's clearly their number 1 wide receiver. I love Deebo Samuel, but he's not Brandon Ayuk as far as a route runner. Deebo is great as far as yards after catch, his physicality, the running component. But outside of that, in terms of wide receiver, Brandon Ayuk clears him, in my opinion. But folks, BRF, I'm going to let you go first. College football. What were your thoughts about Florida State getting upsetted by Georgia Tech?
Ooh, okay. I get to repeat what I said last night. Okay, basically what I said last night was I don't want to hear Florida State complain about health anymore. Because last year they had a built-in excuse when they played Georgia in the bowl game. Like, we weren't healthy. A lot of our guys, we sat, for the NFL draft and da. but forgetting the fact that Georgia still gave them the work with second and third string players. But that's beside the point. Now, don't get me wrong, Georgia Tech is an up and coming. They're coming back up again. I like what Georgia Tech is doing, but Florida State, you should still beat them. I don't want to hear you complaining anymore. You lost to Georgia Tech, fully healthy, fully intact. I don't care if it was a neutral site. I don't care. You lost to Georgia Tech. I don't want to hear you complain about last year anymore. Let it go. You had the built-in excuse, but you don't have it anymore. You're supposed to come back in fully healthy. You're supposed to. I mean, from what I get, you were mad about the college football playoffs. So a lot of your guys basically like, oh no, we're not playing the bowl game against Georgia. So okay, you're fully healthy. I know all those guys aren't there, but you're fully healthy. You come back, locked, loaded, ready to go. I expect you to maybe not necessarily run through Georgia Tech, but I expect you to beat them by a fairly healthy margin. And then you lose to them. I don't want to hear nothing about last year anymore. As far as I'm concerned, I take Florida State about as seriously as I do the Dallas Cowboys at this point. I don't take them serious at all. They can go on about their business for all I care. I'm just saying. And it's not just me being a Georgia fan and hearing all them boys and hearing all of them fans complaining. But it's like, come on, man. You got to. This is your opportunity to make a statement to show everybody. See, what did I tell you? We're healthy. We here to do work. And you got the work put to you by Georgia Tech. So I don't want to hear nothing else about last year. Do I think Florida State's going to be around come late in the season? Yes, because I do think they're going to pick themselves back up and play good football. I just don't want to hear anything else about last year, and I don't want to hear complaining about everything else. So if you put yourself in a similar situation, I'm going to be like, you better get your asses out there and play. I don't want to hear nothing else. Play. Just go play. Don't complain about nothing else. Don't complain about nobody sitting. None of that. Go play, because you need to beat somebody for somebody like me to get me back in your good graces. I can't take you seriously at this point. And shout out to Georgia Tech for going to Dublin and showing up to Dublin, being ready to play and getting that win. Shout out to Georgia Tech. I'm really enjoying what they're doing at that program to get them back to relevancy again. I think Haynes King is doing some work as their quarterback. He's a good player, and shout out to them for going out there. And the thing is, this is not like a ridiculous upset to me, because Georgia Tech has beaten Florida State before. This is not like, oh my God, Georgia Tech beat Florida State. No, Georgia Tech usually hangs with Florida State. Florida State usually doesn't always blow them out. So Georgia Tech beating them, for me, it's like, oh, okay, Georgia Tech hangs with them usually year to year anyway. So this really doesn't surprise me. But from my perspective, as far as Florida State being wanting to be a powerhouse, leave last year. I don't want to hear Florida State complain about nothing else. You got to take this L on the chin, get up, and keep it pushing. So it is what it is with them at this point.
Mitch?
Yeah, exactly what he said. I mean, Florida State, I can't take them seriously. I can't. That's basically it. Next. And I'm coming from a Michigan fan, so I just want to get onto my game tomorrow.
Shout out to Michigan. Other than Oklahoma, Michigan is another school that I love too. Grant.
This is probably one of the reasons why I love college football. Because out of everything that we saw in this game, who would have thought Georgia Tech would walk into Ireland and beat Florida State? First things first, I don't want to hear this thing about DJU being good. I got nothing wrong with DJU, but just if he couldn't throw that whole game, if you watched it, he couldn't make a pass past 10 yards if it wasn't a slant route past 10 yards. I'm sorry. Georgia Tech's pass defense shut him down a majority of that game. And I give credit to this because they did exactly what the coach said, rang the dang ball, and that made Florida State have to play very cautiously. And when they got into the end and their defense completely fell apart, Georgia Tech managed to win. And I completely agree with BRF. Don't send me this huge sob story about how y'all got robbed out of the playoff. Go out there and play. You're Florida State. We're acting like Florida State wasn't this back in the 2000s and the 90s, weren't this like disgusting program who were wiping college football. It's like the problem is with Florida State right now, because of one thing that happened. They didn't feel like it was going to be competitive, and they claim it was a robbery. Let's just rip the Band-Aid off now. And I want all the Florida State fans to look me in the eye when I see this. You know damn well that if you played Michigan in that college football playoff game, y'all would have gotten beaten by 60. And don't you dare lie. Because you know it, and we all know it. And I get it. It sucks because I've been on the end of that, and it hurts. But you have to move on. You can't sit here and complain for months on end about how it's this revenge tour and then get into the first game and lose. Now their season's technically not over because, the playoffs expanded and they still might have a chance to get in. But I completely agree with BRF. You cannot complain to me for months on end that this team is this powerhouse and y'all got robbed and it was unjustified and then go out here and play like this. That completely destroys this logic of what y'all had for this season. And for Florida State, I don't think their season's done. They have a bunch of tough games on their schedule this year. I think their toughest is going to be Notre Dame and South Bend. Because if Notre Dame, I have my thoughts on Notre Dame. We'll probably get into later. But look, with Florida State, this was a tough way to start your season. You have to climb out of a hole now. And with the playoff expansion, I don't think their season's done. I think they still have a chance to get in it, but this is not the way you want to start your season because now you have to dig your way out of a hole. That's going to be even harder with your schedule this season. So, I mean, for Florida State, man, that's just it's just the worst way to start off a season. And I don't feel bad because y'all should have, if this was as easy as y'all said y'all was going to be, y'all should have beaten them completely fine, but y'all completely sold in that second half and let that run game walk you down. But I digress.
Champ.
Hey, man, I was so happy to see that upset, man, because I heard all the Florida State Seminole fans talking about we should have been in. We should have been in. And I'm not going to lie. I was on their side. I think that, and, because their defense was hell on wheels last year, I think given the chance, I think they should have gotten the chance. But now, that time is over. And for you to go out there just lay an egg like that and not play your best ball against Georgia Tech right now and not take anything against Georgia Tech, they're the other school in Georgia, but not taking anything from them, you let them not only beat you, but beat you. I mean, they ran all over you the whole game long. And for you to be a number 10 team and just get, the score doesn't necessarily tell the story with this game. It doesn't necessarily tell the story because they was gashing them in the running game. And, for that to happen on week 0 when you're supposed to be ready, you're supposed to be a college football playoff team, and you're just out there. I mean, hey, you made all that stink last year about you're supposed to be in. And the fact of the matter is you wasn't the first team that was supposed to be in and didn't, and you won't be the last. Trust me. Before it's all said and done, there's going to be some controversy with this 12-team playoff, and it's going to end up extending again. So guess what? You're not the first team to be left out that had a case, and you're not going to be the last. But I will say this. Georgia Tech, I like to see you winning. You from my state. But remember, in the great words of Snoop Dogg, you still a flea. We the big dogs. So keep that in mind. We'll see you in a couple of weeks.
All right. I was shocked though. To be honest with you, unfortunately, I wasn't able to watch the game because I had to work that day. But Grant, you brought up a great point about the Florida State quarterback DJ Uiagalelei. Early on, I tried to like this dude because 6'4", 250, strong arm. Dude just isn't it. And he hasn't lived up to the type of potential that I thought he could have. But so far, he hasn't. And this is pretty embarrassing for Florida State. I mean, this is not how the way you want to start off the season. Eventually, look, only time will tell. They still got some plenty of good games. You mentioned about Notre Dame, Grant. Do you want to go on further with that, or?
No, all I'm gonna say is this with Notre Dame. Look, I'm a Notre Dame fan, and my thing with this season is we have this is probably the hardest way we have to start our season. We got to go play A&M in College Station. I don't know if any of y'all have been there. I've been to Texas A&M.
Oh, it's packed, and Johnny
I was there the night they beat Alabama. I was there the night they beat Alabama, and I can credit this for the fact that when I say that place gets loud, it gets loud. And my biggest worry about it is this offensive line. We don't have Joe Alt. He's gone. And we have the right guard and the left guard are both young offensive rookies that are just getting their first starts on an actual game. And I am so concerned about the protection of Riley Leonard because I think Riley Leonard, before the injury, is an extremely talented quarterback. I think getting him was the best thing that we needed because I feel like with what we had on our depth chart, that's what we need. But going into an environment like this, we have to be on all 10 toes. And my biggest thing with Notre Dame is, and I've watched this for years, every time they get into an away environment, they play like a D2 school. That's not me trying to be like negative Nancy over here. I'm just being honest. They did it last year with Clemson. They literally looked like a completely different team than the one that we saw at the start of this season. And I don't know if Notre Dame right now, and this is where I feel like it's more worrying for Marcus Freeman. I don't know how much longer Notre Dame fans are going to be fine with sitting on this bottom rope of being like this 10-2 team. Because Notre Dame is prestigious for their national championships. The fans are getting to a point where I feel like a lot of them are going to expect this idea to get to that next level. With the play again, and I keep repeating this, with the playoff expansion, one loss doesn't toss your season in the dirt. I think how the playoffs going to work, it's going to be mostly one-loss teams. Maybe a two-loss team gets in. But I feel like this game, for both sides, is going to determine a lot. For me, is if can Notre Dame actually go in and play consistent football in this tough environment. Because if you go in and beat A&M, look at the rest of their schedule. The only tough game they have after that is Florida State, if at all. So all I'm saying is this. If Notre Dame wants to win this game, that offensive line has to protect Riley Leonard for his life. They cannot let Riley Leonard scramble because it will end horribly. And in an environment like College Station, it's extremely difficult to play. And I think this is going to be a close game. And I honestly think A&M could edge it out because I think they're going to win it by maybe like a field goal. But I've seen crazier things happen, so you never know.
Oh, the Notre Dame and real quick, the Notre Dame A&M game. I mentioned it last night. That's my upset. That's my upset special. That's my upset special. A&M could legit get Notre Dame because I mentioned it last night. Notre Dame never travels well in big time environments. They never travel well. Even if they do play well for a half, like whoever they're playing in the second half, they just get hot and they just run them out the building. They never travel well. So yeah, this is like Notre Dame's A&M is upset alert because Texas A&M can beat them.
Can I ask a question real quick?
Go ahead, champ.
PSP?
Go ahead,
Hey,
champ.
considering how easy the schedule is after y'all travel, if y'all are able to pull out this game, do you think Riley Leonard can be a Heisman Trophy candidate this year? Because before he got hurt, he was doing real good down there in Duke.
Especially Duke last year.
I think my biggest concern with Riley Leonard is if he can play with the weapons because we lost one of our top receivers in this upcoming returning team to FIU, and we lost a few of our weapons. So I feel like if Riley Leonard can play with these weapons, I wouldn't be surprised if he could be Heisman. I mean, look, it's the start of the season, and I don't want to put an expectation on this kid too soon. I've been watching the film. I've been doing my research. Riley Leonard, from what I've seen, is an extremely talented quarterback. He can when he's under pressure, he can perform well. And especially in environments where it's like, and especially when he's in the pocket, it's consistent. He can make clean, accurate passes. It's very good on the deep threat. I think this guy's going to be a very good shot for a Heisman candidate. But right now, I don't want to put that expectation out. I'm not saying he can't. I just think with the weapons he has, it's going to be a lot tougher than a lot of people think. But if they beat A&M, he can be in the running. But with us, the season's going to change. And my biggest concern is with the injury he had. Is he going to be the same player? Because we have to understand, he got hurt on literally the last play of the game against Notre Dame when he was at Duke, and it killed his entire season. And my biggest worry is, can he come back from that injury and be somewhat of that same player? That's the thing that worries me too. But to answer your question, hopefully, yes. it's just going to be hard with these weapons we have because I just don't think – I think especially with what Riley Leonard is used to, it's an upgrade. I just think it's going to be a lot harder because a lot of the players that he's going to have are young, talented freshmen and sophomores who haven't really gotten a lot of a start yet. So I'm hoping that he does, but
by the way, the Aggies are 3-point favorites into winning that game tomorrow night against Notre Dame. But and also for Aggie fans, Texas A&M great Johnny Manziel will be there for College Game Day as for the picks. So it's going to be pretty exciting for College Station. But Grant, I do think that I will actually pick Notre Dame to win this one. It's going to be a close one, but I'm going to go 24-21 Fighting Irish. It's going to be a close game, though. It's going to be a thriller, but I do think it's going to be a game-winning field goal, and the Notre Dame will come on top. But anyway, let's talk about another game yesterday. Y'all saw Colorado? Y'all saw Shedeur Sanders and Travis Hunter? Boy, they put on a show.
Yeah, they did. Oh, my bad. I did not mean to interrupt, my bad.
No. It's good, champ. Even though it was a close game, though, against North Dakota State, 31-26, though, I'm still not sold on the defense of Colorado, not one bit. Even though, but Shedeur Sanders, boy, he was making some big time throws, and Jimmy Horn Jr. But Travis Hunter played almost every snap in that game, man. Look. Even though Colorado, I don't expect much from Colorado. Prime has received some criticism, but hey, man, they can put on a show. They still got a lot more improvement to do regarding the defensive line, the offensive line, but Prime knows what he can do as far as with the skill players. So, Champ, I'm gonna let you go first. What were your thoughts?
Number one, for people who say they should have mopped the floor with them, you obviously don't watch football because North Dakota State is a powerhouse. They got 17 national championships for a reason. So don't be sitting around here saying they should have mopped the floor with them. No, it don't work like that. I even told people back when Appalachian State upset Michigan back in the day. Hey, they had just came off of the national championship. Themselves. Don't every team that you played, just because they are below you as far as D1, D2 is concerned, does not mean they're a pushover. They just won a national championship back in 2021, and then they damn near won one, I think, just last year. They got to the finals. So you can't underestimate them. And that just goes to show how good of a coach they have up there in North Dakota State because they was able to hang with them. My biggest concern is, man, number one, Colorado, y'all got gashed in them running game. They ran for over 150 yards. That's not good. And they kept you on the field all day long. If you look at that first half, that defense was on the field over 11 minutes. You talk about Marty Ball, Marty Schottenheimer, rest in peace to the great one. That was Marty Ball to the fullest. Another thing, Shedeur had, if you are a scout right now and you are questioning anything about Shedeur Sanders, I think you're nitpicking at this point. Because at this point, he's running for his life out there, and he's so darn poised in that pocket. He's moving up and around.
Throws that he made to Jimmy Horn Jr. with the offensive line, man.
Yeah, he is poised. Granted, the offensive line is a little bit better than they were last year, a little bit, but it's not much. Shedeur was still kind of running for his life out there, and he was stepping in that pocket and finding ways to make plays out there. So if you are an NFL scout, this is the guy you need to look at. I know Carson Beck is there. I know Quentin Ewers is there. I know a lot of great quarterbacks are there. But he doesn't have an offensive line like any of those players. And he's out there performing like this, that is nothing short of amazing. Hey, look, don't be surprised if, and I'm going to say this is a big if, and this might be the hottest take I ever had ever. If they can manage to kind of eke out like 8 games, don't be surprised if you see Shedeur and Travis Hunter up there in New York at that Heisman podium, you know, as Heisman finalists, because I can see them making a lot of noise, because I believe at the end of the year, they'll have the stats, but will they have the wins in order to back up their stats? Because, you know, the Heisman committee, the last time a person had a losing record and won the Heisman was Paul Hornung back in the day. No person had a losing record and won the Heisman since that time. So, hey, if they can eke out 8 wins, and that's a huge if, considering, you know, that offensive line, that defense. Because you're not going to outscore every team. You saw that with USC last year. If they can eke out 8 wins, don't be surprised if you see Shedeur Sanders and Travis Hunter in New York as Heisman finalists. But they got a lot of work to do for that O-line, and they have a lot of work to do with that defensive line. Like I said, O-line, in my humble opinion, the most important position in football. The quarterback can't throw when he's on his back. So y'all got to do some pass protection schemes or something to protect that young prospect, because not only do you have to go to a bowl game this year, but you got to worry about that young man's pro career. Thanks, PSB.
Anytime. And for those who may not know who Paul Hornung is, I'm reading it right here. Regardless of Notre Dame's 2-8 record, Hornung won the Heisman Trophy back in 1956, nicknamed the Golden Boy, who can do it all: run, pass, block, and tackle. For context out there for our younger audience. BRF, what were your thoughts about the Colorado game?
Shout out to you guys for for letting the people know that North Dakota State is nothing to mess with and nothing to play with. They, you know how Champ like to say, they ain't new to this, stay true to this. They've been doing this for a while. They're not to be messed with. So I was not surprised at all that North Dakota State gave them a game. And we talk, and you know, us saying that we're not sold on Colorado's defense is like the understatement of the night, because their defense is just bad. Their defense is bad, and in particular, they can't get a pass rush. Their pass rush is god awful. They can't rush anybody, and then add on top of that the way they were just running. It was kind of like Georgia Tech in their running game against Florida State. They dog walked them. They dog walked them in the running game. So
he's had a hard time though.
They did too, but I always feel like with the defense, it starts with the run, because if you're running the ball, if you're running the ball, you're getting that defense in a situation where they have to think, and you're slowing down their pass rush. And if they're not rushing, that quarterback's got plenty of time to pick any secondary apart. But boy, man, if I'm NFL scouts, I'm looking at Shedeur Sanders and Travis Hunter, and I'm licking my chops, because those two are going to be forces to reckon with. They're going to be forces to reckon with when they make it to the NFL. Let me tell you something. Jerry Jones probably watched that game last night, and he's probably thinking, "Damn, boy, I'm glad I'm not about to pay that, because I got Shedeur Sanders that's going to be right there." And his crazy mind, he will literally. I guarantee you, Jerry Jones. It would not shock me if Jerry Jones would try to literally trade up to get him. Jerry Jones has that type of mindset, because he sees Shedeur Sanders and he sees box office. He would try to trade up for him in a heartbeat. I legit think he would. But honestly though, Travis Hunter is just, I've been in awe of Travis Hunter since I first watched him, like his high school tapes. And then, you know, seeing the fact that he was willing to go to Jackson State with Deion and still put up the type of, still do the type of work that he did at a school like Jackson State, and then go to Colorado and just nothing changes. The dude is just all world, arguably the best player, regardless of position, in all of college football. The dude is that legit. He's that talented. I mean, he's like dark horse #1 overall draft pick type good. Travis Hunter's built like that. So Colorado's got to do everything in their power to make sure those boys are being able to make plays. But God, they seriously, I'm with y'all. They need to do something about that offensive line. That way, Shedeur Sanders can do what he did last night, or at least like really good averages, like from a week to week basis, because the dude's got serious talent, and he definitely the poise he showed last year behind that offensive line, and then bringing it into this year, knowing he's got no protection to still put up the numbers that he's putting up is just nothing short of astonishing. So I really hope Deion needs to really look at that and get with his coaches and just find something in this game plan, in the schemes to alter, whether it's more bootlegs, more rollouts, just do something to protect him, to keep him from getting lit up. He's really got to look at something to really adjust his game plans, to really make sure Shedeur is staying on his feet, to be able to make some of the throws he's making. I knew he could play, but like it's the arm talent. It's like it catches you off guard. Like the man's got arm talent. It kind of catches you off guard. You don't realize how much arm talent he has until you see him in the game and he's throwing the ball. Exactly. He's way more mobile than people give him credit for, and he's got way better arm talent than people give him credit for. That's why a lot of people are kind of like high on him coming up in the NFL draft. So Deion needs to really sit down with his coaches and really make some adjustments to make sure that he keeps him on his feet. Because I seriously think a healthy Shedeur Sanders with competent offensive line play, it doesn't have to be great. It just has to be competent. Can get you at least 7 or 8 wins. Like get you 2 to 3 wins in improvement from last year to this year. So Deion's really got to do something to really help him, help the offensive line being able to just look competent. That way Shedeur Sanders can go out there and do his thing from week to week.
Well, Prime has connections and he has resources, and he's getting the great Warren Sapp to help out with the D line. So I kind of like that aspect. So Prime's got to do something. Mitch, are you still there, man? Mitch, there we go, man.
I'm still here.
Good, man. What were your thoughts about the Colorado game?
Travis Hunter's a dog. He is a dog. I just can't wait to see what the rest of the season holds for him. And if Primetime can get him in the right positions or whatever, he could go down as one of the best college football wide receivers this year, if all said and done correctly. So, the guy's a dog.
Mm-hmm. BRF, you and Champ. This is the last college football topic, and then we're gonna move on to something else. You and Champ, y'all both UGA fans. Y'all got Clemson tomorrow. What are your thoughts about that game?
Georgia should beat Clemson, but Georgia better not sleep on them, because they're already okay. Because there was a clip of one of the Clemson players. They had asked him, like, how does it feel going in there being the underdog? And he's like, oh no, we're not the underdog. And I was just like, okay. Don't sleep on them, because they're coming in this game with confidence. I mean, this is Clemson. I mean, they've been, even though they haven't won a national championship in a while, they are like at the top, whether it's recruiting and, going into the season, playing well, playing good football. But I say this, if I'm Georgia, I look at that clip and I'm thinking to myself, you're not the underdog. Look, there are not okay. There are two. I feel like there are like a few places in college football that I don't want to place. I don't want to see certain teams as far as like their home environment. I feel like Mercedes-Benz for Georgia is almost as bad, if not worse, than Sanford Stadium. You get the Georgia Bulldogs and Mercedes-Benz. They're just like,
you might as well just bring the whole state of Georgia with
they're,
you.
Yes, they're a whole nother level of grimy in Mercedes-Benz Stadium. You don't believe me? Ask Oregon. They're a whole different level of nasty in Mercedes-Benz. So if I'm Clemson, I tread lightly because Georgia's not just Georgia bringing Athens, Georgia bringing Atlanta, they bringing Albany, they bringing Columbus, they bringing everybody there. So Clemson better they better watch what they say coming into this game. Because the last thing you want to give a team like Georgia, who's coming into the year as ranked number 1, the last thing you want to do with a team like Georgia is give them any type of bulletin board material. Because I was thinking, okay, this might be a close game. Georgia might dog walk them. Because you don't want to give a good team like that any type of material, any type of added fuel or motivation. And the thing is I don't even think they might not even have Trevor Etienne for this game, like with his troubles and stuff. I don't think they're gonna have him for this game. But if there's one thing Georgia, so if there's one thing they're always able to do. If there's one thing the University of Georgia is always able to do is keep running backs. So, okay, no Trevor Etienne. Okay, we're going to reintroduce you to Branson Robinson. And if you've seen Branson Robinson, I'm telling you right now, the dude looks like a dark version of Thor. Okay, the dude is a monster. The dude is humongous. The dude is huge, but yet he is still. When I saw him in that his freshman year when he got time and like garbage time blows and stuff like that, to be as big as he is, he's shifty. He's got good footwork. He can run. I'm telling you, man, George. I was on the line if it was going to be a close game because I just feel like for a game like this, I mean, it's not like Clemson's that far from Atlanta. They're going to bring fans. So, I mean, they're going to show up and they're going to play. But when I saw that clip, I'm just like, man, y'all can't say stuff like this during Georgia week. Georgia, it went from being a close game to Georgia just might dog walk them.
Champ.
What's that coming down the track? It's the Mean Machine in the red and black. I'm just happy that Georgia's back. Hey, man, look. Playing in Mercedes-Benz, man, that's just Georgia's second home, man. Athens is the main house, and coming down to Mercedes-Benz kind of like going to your aunties, man. You're still gonna eat good, you're still gonna fill up your belly, and you're still gonna lay down and sleep real well. And I think that's just what's gonna happen to Clemson. Look, if this were a few years ago, I would say this is gonna be a dogfight. And the main reason why we're not saying that it's going to be a dogfight now is because of one person and one person only, and that's Dabo Swinney refusing to evolve with the game. I mean, I hate to steal somebody else's quote, but hey, in the great words of Triple H, you don't evolve, you die. Mm-hmm. And at this point in time, Clemson is kind of dying a slow and painful death. And you have to ask yourself, are they simply in the rankings just because they're Clemson? Yeah. We're not seeing them get them super recruiting classes like they did before. We're not seeing these breakout players, number one in the country, coming to Clemson anymore. So the thing is, years ago, this would have been a major showdown. This would have been Dabo versus Kirby Smart. All his glory. Could we see this as a preview of the national championship? For the first time ever. Years ago, we would have been saying that. But because Dabo is refusing, Coach Dabo Swinney, is refusing to evolve with the game and what it's becoming, this game is just being looked at as, hey, if Georgia don't win, this is probably the biggest upset arguably in the last 3 years. That's how it's gotten. You have to evolve. I'm just going to be real. People criticize Deion Sanders, but the thing is, hey, all the criticism that Dabo is getting, he deserves. You have to evolve. The thing is, we don't want to go into the transfer portal. Well, guess what, man? Look what the transfer portal got LSU. Look what the transfer portal has done for Ohio State. They got one of the they got Quinn. They went and got Quinshawn Jenkins down there from Ole Miss, and guess what? They have a potential to go ahead and be the highest and be one of the high scoring offenses right now. So the thing is, every school has caught up. Even Coach Harbaugh last year, he caught up to it. It's time for you to catch up. So the thing is this. Hey, do I expect to be close in the first half? Yes. Main thing that I'm concerned about is Coach Bobo. Is he going to let this offense sputter like he did last year and play down to the competition? That's my only concern. Because last year he did that a lot and the offense sputtered. And as you saw, when we start playing better teams like Alabama, the offense stayed at that level and we didn't rise above the competition like we were supposed to. We forgot that we could beat Alabama. But the thing is this. If Clemson comes out here and puts up a good fight, I will be surprised. But guess what? Georgia's taking it this week, man. And Coach Sweeney, look, I'm a fan of yours. Seeing what you did with that program coming from Bobby Bowden's son, Tommy Bowden, and what you have done with that program, it's amazing to see. The guys who you put in the program, the Deshaun Watsons, the Trevor Lawrences, the Sexy Dexies, all those guys that you put in the NFL, I applaud you. But it's time to evolve. Hey, evolution is inevitable. And if you don't evolve, you get left behind. So, Coach Sweeney, man, evolve. It's time. Leave all the old ways back. The thing about the good old days is they are just that, the old days. It's time to evolve, Coach Sweeney.
Grant or Mitch, who you got for the Clemson UGA game?
I got Georgia. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. Before I get into it, I wanted to say this quick thing about Colorado. 3 things. 1, put some respect on North Dakota State. They won 17 national championships and they dominated the 2010s. 2, Travis Hunter right now in my eyes is going to be, or if not already, one of the best players in the nation. 3, that Colorado defense still isn't what I need it to be. It has to be better if they want to be able to compete in the Big 12. That's all I have to say to keep it short. This game isn't close. I'm sorry, and I know I could go on in a long tangent and spiel about this isn't close. Clemson has refused to adapt for years. Dabo Swinney has refused to enter the portal. And after we've said multiple times, you have to evolve in college football. As much as I believe sometimes that the transfer portal is doing a little too much to kill the sport, you have to do it. There's no way you're going to be able to be a top national championship contending team and not use the portal. And I understand why. Yeah, Dabo's doing it because of morals and stuff. Excuse my language, and it's going to be so bad. Fuck your morals. Fuck your morals, man. You're freaking Clemson. Like, this is – you guys in the 2015 past were one of the most dangerous teams in the country, and y'all had to deal with these 5-loss seasons. Like, you have to change. This year, in my opinion, Georgia is dangerous. Like, this is like the same Georgia team we've seen the past few years. And the only reason they didn't make the playoff last year was because they lost to Bama. That's the only reason why. And how do you think that's going to respond to a Georgia team this year? Carson Beck's in this squad. Carson Beck, I think, is one of the best SEC QBs right now in that conference. This offense, even regardless if ETN does not play, is this loaded with talent. I don't think this is going to be close. I think they're going to blow them out by like 20 because I don't see a way Clemson is going to stop that team. And plus, like we said before, Mercedes-Benz Stadium is literally Atlanta's second home, except you're just putting the whole state of Georgia in there.
Quavo may be at that game.
He might be. And at that point, I'm just saying right now, Clemson has to evolve, and I don't think they're winning this game. And it's not going to be close like a lot of people think. But here's the thing, and I'm going to say this right now. If Georgia loses, it's the biggest upset of the past 4 years because you're not going
Champ's going to have a lot to say about that.
If they lose this offense, because Champ, I've been doing my research. This offense is stacked enough with talent. There's no way you guys aren't going to be scoring at least 5 touchdowns in this game with that offense alone. Y'all, they're not this, in my personal opinion, this isn't close. But I'm not going to be surprised because the one thing I've always said about college football, expect the unexpected. Because we always say this about teams that we think are going to lose. And they come for some reason, these teams decide to play like they're the best team in the world and they pull off this huge upset. So I'm not right now. I know this game's probably going to be a shutout, but expect the unexpected. That's all I'm going to say.
Mitch.
Go ahead, Mitch. No. I'll let him go ahead, then I'll add one more. And I'll add one more.
Go ahead, Mitch.
Georgia has no excuses here. None. They should blow them out by at least 40 or 50. No excuse here. Basically it. No excuse.
BRF.
I'm gonna give Clemson a little credit. I don't think they're gonna beat them that bad, but this is what I'll say. It hinges on the first quarter. I feel like the first quarter is going to tell a huge, deep tale as far as the way the rest of this game is going to play out. But here's my thing. With Mike Bobo being offensive coordinator, when he finally decided, like mid-season, late season, before the SEC title game, when it looked like he finally decided to let loose and let that offense do his thing, they were one of the scariest units in college football. I feel like if he comes out of the gate and just like, you know what, I'm gonna let Carson Beck do his thing, it could get ugly fast, because Carson Beck showed late in the season he's got good arm talent, he's got good arm strength, extremely accurate with the football. Is already knowing how to make reads to go from his first to his second to his third. He's already understanding the concepts of everything. This and just to be funny, I feel like if Sanford Stadium is the state jail, Mercedes-Benz is the state penitentiary. This is how I feel they're going to do. This is what I feel they're going to do to Clemson. I think that's that. I'm telling y'all, man. People don't understand. I know Mercedes-Benz is technically a neutral site. Watch tomorrow and watch how much red is going to be in that building.
It's going to be crazy.
I'm telling you, man. Mercedes-Benz Stadium should not be one of the scariest home field advantages in college football. But for the Georgia Bulldogs, you bet it is. I'm telling you, man. Clemson better come in. Clemson better go in that stadium with heads on swivels. That's all I'm gonna say.
Before we move on to the music and entertainment, Caitlin Clark had a game, man. 31 points. By the way, a career high. 12 assists, 4 rebounds as the Indiana Fever defeated the Chicago Sky 100-81. Quick thoughts,
good God,
guys.
they beat them that bad?
Yeah.
Beat them like they stole.
They did.
Wow.
Beat them like they stole some. Remember Kennedy Carter? She didn't play this game. She's in safety protocol. You know.
Oh my God.
All their scoring with Mabry being traded in the middle of the season and Kennedy Carter not being, being that wing that they could depend on from some reliable scoring. You had to depend on your bigs at this point, which is Cardoza and Angel Reese. Scoring is not really their game at this point in their career. So I'm just being real. I mean, they're going down in the rankings as far as playoffs. They still ahead of the Atlanta Dream. They're going to sneak in by the skin of their teeth on that last seed. But Rookie of the Year race is over with. I'm just being real. We all love Angel Reese. I'm a huge fan of her. But the Rookie of the Year race is over. And I think that double-double streak lost its – I think that whole double-doubles had lost its luster once the streak was over. And once you fell out of playoff contention, once you start falling in the standings and you start falling out of playoff contention, then it starts losing its luster. But, we did bring up one thing last night, BRF. And BRF, to his credit, fought me on the end of this, man. Look, don't be surprised if they go up, because they're 2 games behind the defending world champions in the Las Vegas Aces. They're 2 games behind. Don't be surprised if they go up in the stands and get past the Las Vegas Aces in them standings, that you start hearing that MVP talk for Caitlin Clark. Don't be surprised. because they started 1-8 at the beginning of the season. They started 1-8, and since the Olympic and / All-Star break, they have been on a tear. They have been on a tear. And then I think BRF brought this up last night. If it comes down to that final playoff spot, them going ahead of the Las Vegas Aces, and they beat them back-to-back because that's their last 2 games. They have to play the defending world champs back-to-back their last 2 games in September. They beat them back-to-back against Asia Wilson versus Caitlin Clark. You're going to start hearing some conversations and some narratives in the media. Watch and see.
Fellas, any comments on Caitlin Clark before we move on to music or entertainment, or what's up?
Change that
The
ranking.
yeah.
Go ahead, bro. Change that ranking.
No.
You'll put Angel Reese above her. Look, I got nothing wrong with Angel Reese. I think she's a talented basketball player. Caitlin Clark has been hooping this entire season, and I'm not the one to try to push these agendas. If the WNBA screws her out of Rookie of the Year, I'm literally going.
No.
They cannot rob her of it. If she's been balling like this
No.
all season, and if you scrub her for that, it's gonna look so disgusting on y'all's repertoire. Give her Rookie of the Year. There's nothing else. End of discussion.
Rookie of the Year race is over. WNBA, I don't think the WNBA the WNBA is that dumb. This race is over. This race is over. I feel like this race has been over. Honestly, the last month and a half, really, since like they came back. I say like the last month and a half. Rookie of the Year race has been over. Now I'm still the proponent of to win MVP from Asia Wilson. Caitlin Clark's got to. I mean, she's playing well, but I mean, she has to literally enter God mode to take the MVP away from Asia Wilson. I still feel like Asia Wilson is going to win the MVP because I get the winning, but even with the winning, the Vegas Aces are still too good of a team to stay struggling. And I feel like Asia Wilson still has a few of those ridiculously sick games in her left to where I don't think even a hot streak like this and Caitlin Clark playing out of her mind is going to take the MVP away from Asia Wilson. Now I do agree that if they win those games back to back, you definitely have to have some discussions. But I do still feel like in terms of, I don't know, I still feel like as far as a matchup for the Indiana Fever, I still think the Vegas Aces from a matchup perspective should still give them hell because of what they can do on the inside and the outside. With a player like Asia Wilson, then on the outside with a player like Kelsey Plum, I still feel like the Vegas Aces should give Indiana Fever so much hell and should still give them matchup nightmares. Even though the Indiana Fever are playing great ball, you know, Leah Boston, like Champ mentions, she's a former Rookie of the Year. I mean, she's an awesome player. And I mentioned Kelsey Mitchell. She is the perfect complement to Caitlin Clark in that backcourt. With Caitlin Clark being the playmaker, being the initiator that she is, having a score, a pure shooter like Kelsey Mitchell only helps. It only helps Caitlin Clark. I think folks need to kind of, you know, as much as we love seeing Caitlin Clark ball in that backcourt, they need to put a little more respect on Kelsey Mitchell's name. That girl can play some ball. But the Rookie of the Year race is beyond, I think, over at this point. And it's the fact that we're even having this discussion of Caitlin Clark for MVP should tell you right there the Rookie of the Year race is a wrap. The fact that we're having MVP talks with Caitlin Clark, Rookie of the Year race has been over.
Mitch?
Yeah.
Man. Go ahead,
I actually don't watch the WNBA. I can't. I don't know. I just can't watch it.
No, it's all good, man. Don't worry about it. But matter of fact, I'm gonna let you go first on this one. We're gonna go to an entertainment one.
All right.
Favorite music. Favorite Justin Timberlake song. I remember, Mitch, you can mention any song from Justin Timberlake, whether solo or from NSYNC.
All right. So for me, since did everyone here see Deadpool? I'm just asking if you guys saw Deadpool or not.
I
Because
haven't
you
seen
guys
it
know
yet,
where
but I
I'm
want
going
to
with
so bad. I want to
But-
so bad.
But you know, but do you know what happened in the beginning? It's like all over social media. No?
Yeah, I
Well,
saw it, man.
Yeah. It's like one of the greatest intros in the history of movies.
Yep. So that one is my favorite Texas Hippolyte song. That one is my favorite, just because of Deadpool. That was just perfect. I can't wait to see it in the movies again. I saw it in 3D. Now I want to see it regular. So that one is my favorite right there. Bye.
BRF.
Favorite Justin Timberlake song. I have a lot of them, and it goes. And then honestly, I wasn't like the biggest boy band person back in the day, but I will say this: when NSYNC went into their R&B mode, I give them props. They did their thing. The Girlfriend song was a Girlfriend, Gone. Those are fire songs. Those are NSYNC songs I will ride to in the car. Those are fire songs. But gosh, if I have to, oh my gosh, I don't know, man. I'll say this though. This is what I'm gonna say. My favorite Justin Timberlake album is gosh, is Love Stone. Oh my gosh, Love Stone. Oh, that is one of Future Sex Love Sounds. Future Sex Love Sounds. That is one of my favorite albums. That album, that is a for me. That's a no skip album. That was a no skip album for me. I love that album. He has so many good songs. My favorite song, my favorite Justin Timberlake song of all time, "What Goes Around Comes Around." I love that song. I love that song. I love that song so much. That is a great song, and my favorite part of the song is like the extended version. Like when they put the Timberland, when he puts when he has a little, the little, I guess the little outro at the end of the song. Oh, it's funny. It's funny because, like I said, at my job, I work at Lowe's, and they have their music going through the intercom, and that song will actually play, and they'll play the extended version with the extra Timberland beat going on at the end. So I'll be working and that song's going, and the next thing you know, it hits that point and it kind of gets you going a little bit. It gets you up a little bit. So yeah, for me, What Goes Around Comes Around is my favorite Justin Timberlake song. Like really close to that, or My Love with T.I. and probably he's got a song on Justified, his very first album. Song's called Last Night. Great song. But yeah, What Goes Around Comes Around is my favorite all-time Justin Timberlake song.
Champ.
Man, look, I'm just gonna put it out there, man. I was a huge Backstreet Boys fan, and I was an NSYNC fan, man. And I ain't go as far as have all the posters on the wall and stuff like that. But the thing is, I had the CD. You had the school I went to, you could be going around here singing bye bye bye. Shout out to Marshall Middle School, shout out to the Farley Homes. So if you're from Columbus, you know what I'm talking about. The school I went to in middle school when I was a child, you couldn't go there and tell us, so hey, you listen to the Backstreet Boys album, you gonna get, but hey,
no dance pool routines from a Champ.
no dance pool routines. Nah, I ain't doing all that. But Bye 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 was one of them, because I did actually do that. I did actually put that VHS tape in and try to record it and try to, do the steps to it, try to learn it. I got I ain't got no rhythm. I'm just gonna keep it all the way 100 with you. I ain't got no rhythm, so it took me about 100 tries to finally try to get it right. But Bye Bye Bye, and look, man, my favorite song by Justin Timberlake band has to be Suit and Tie. When you get a man, look, there's nothing like, especially if you got a date, you know, going on that night, get in front of that mirror, straighten that tie up, put that sports coat on. It's something about when you put that song on right before. It's kind of like you walking out as a wrestler to a theme song. Like, try it one time. I mean, it's epic. You know, ask Alexa to play it. So the thing is, it's like, put that on, put that sports coat on, put that suit on, put your Stacy's on, or your Christians on, whatever you kind of shoes you put on, put your best suit of clothes on. And listen, and while you getting dressed, brushing your hair, you know, getting your hair done, doing whatever, listen to that song, man. And I guarantee you, when you walk out and go on that date or wherever you going, black tie affair, green, you know, all white affair, whatever party you going to, I guarantee you, you're gonna walk into that place with swagger, with even more swag than you got. You know what I'm saying?
Confidence on 1,000.
Yeah, I mean, a swag on 100,000 trillion. Suit and tie, and I have to say this, man. I'm tired of using technology with
50 Cent.
Yeah. Those two songs, man, I kind of feel like, look, when it comes to guys like Justin Timberlake and Kobe, God rest his soul, and, you know, guys who were like in boy bands and stuff like that, guys who were coming up, I feel like I grew up with those guys. So I think that when I started hearing him do songs like Suit and Tie and stuff like that, it was kind of like, you know, how we say, man, you getting your grown man on at this point. You're no longer that child that we knew and loved that was, you know, rolling with your boys. Now you're a grown man. And I think that song, Suit and Tie, personifies that, man. You know, especially with him, you know, being with Jay-Z during that time. Hey, man, when that song came out, man, look, you got to remember, when that song came out, all of us was going to the club in business casual. You know, we weren't going to the club like now. We was going to the club in business casual sports coat song. And when you was playing that song and you walk out, it's just like, man, it activates something, man. So Suit and Tie, technology, and bye, man. Those were New Jersey Genius. You did it again, man. Look, I'm just going to be real. Every time I talk about this stuff, it's just like, it's nostalgia and present all the way. Because like I said, man, each and every one of y'all and the viewers out there in TV land, try that one time. You know, man or woman, binary, either one of y'all, try it. Get your best suit of clothes on and play that song while you doing your hair, while you taking your shower, while you getting ready. And right before you get ready to walk out, play that song one more time. I guarantee you it's going to activate something in you, man.
I got a gang load of Justin Timberlake songs I listen to. Rock Your Body. One of my favorites is Senorita. Anytime when you're in the dance club or whatever and you see a beautiful, fine woman out there, you're going to start playing that song. Like, you are going to play some Senorita. The other songs from his sophomore album, Summer Love. I love Summer Love. The Beat, Until the End of Time, the one with Beyonce. That track, especially with the vocals between Justin and Beyonce, them two together, marvelous. So Justified, man, that I love the album. That was great. Cry Me a River, and shout out to the great Timbaland, man. Of course, man. His beats. Chad, you put me on game when you talked about Pastor Troy. So hey, man, I got to give you kudos on that one.
Whoa, hold on. Champ got you on P3?
Yeah, he mentioned it on my pod. We did a start bench and cut with Timbaland, Swiss Beats, and Jermaine Dupri, and he mentioned Pastor Troy.
Yeah, because you know that song, Are We Cutting In? And that song, Are We Cutting In? That put, I mean, look, we all know, we knew Pastor Troy. Me and you, BRF, we knew Pastor Troy. Matter of fact, funny story about Pastor Troy. They banned all his songs in Columbus, Georgia. They banned all his songs in Columbus, Georgia. So
I actually got to meet him. I actually got to meet him a few years ago.
Yeah.
He okay, so I live in Madison, which is basically Morgan County. So that's Madison, Madison, Little Buckhead, Rutledge, and all that. So they had this club in Rutledge like a few years ago. It didn't last long, but it was called 20 East. And they actually got him to perform at that club. And I actually was able to get to talk to him and meet him. And I think that was one of the coolest things ever. PSP, welcome to the right side of life, my man. Because let me tell you something. Pastor Troy is one of the most underrated rappers, not just in Atlanta hip hop, not just Georgia hip hop, but hip hop period. And I hated that Are We Cutting is really the only song he had that really went like mainstream, because Pastor Troy, Champ will tell you, that man got banger after banger after banger after banger. That man got a catalog. So the fact that he got you on Pastor Troy, salute, Champ. You did the world a good deed. Getting that man on Pastor Troy. I'm telling you.
Words of Champ, great minds think alike. Great minds.
Hey.
Oh man, I'm proud of both of y'all, man. Cause let me tell you something. Pastor Troy music got me through some dark times, boy. So shout out.
Hey, like I said, they banned all his songs at all the clubs in Columbus, Georgia, man. So, hey, and look, and ironically, the year after, I think it was like months after they banned all his songs down here in Columbus because of various reasons, he came out with the song Just to Fight. So I wonder if he knew about that. So I wonder if he knew about that.
The fact that they banned his songs for obvious reasons, and then he made a song for the obvious reason they banned his song. Oh yeah, yes, he knew.
My generation know about all his songs being banned in the clubs in Columbus, Georgia. It was for various reasons. And then months later, he came out with Just to Fight. So that was a crazy thing.
But man, that was great, man. But Justin Timberlake, though, great songs, man, great career. It definitely shows you a lot how to go from a boy band to having your own solo career and the success, man. By the way, Champ, if I go to an event with Suit and Tie, I will be playing that song before I hop on to the party. So I will do that out of courtesy of you. But fellas, last topic before we wrap up the show. Wrestling. Favorite Randy Orton moment. I will go first. I would have to say him being babyface in 2004. Because when he won the championship at SummerSlam, remember how Evolution turned him down? Remember how they betrayed him, how they attacked him? And when Randy Orton was about to give Triple H the belt, he spit at him. And remember how he chased Triple H and Evolution, Batista, Ric Flair with the sledgehammer? Remember that? And Randy Orton had some mic skills. I there was one in which he said something about the big dog and the Usos. I don't know if I can say that. I think y'all remember shit.
Oh yeah.
I think you know exactly what I'm referring to. Mitch definitely knows exactly as well.
Something about letting something out the yard. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah.
And of course, and shout out to Triple H. I don't know how he does it with anyone talking about his family, particularly with Stephanie, his wife. But man, like, remember, I brought up CM Punk. Remember when he did, you don't wear the pants in the house, but you wear her panties. I still laugh at it to this day, though. I'm sorry, man. I'm just getting out the word of CM Punk. Am I lying?
No, you ain't lying.
But BRF, you said it yourself. Triple H, he's special because, again, not only as a creative, but in terms of how he's able to like deal with it, because it's not easy to be talking about someone's family like that, especially the wife.
Yeah.
Cool.
You go pop the trunk about stuff like that. Where I'm from.
There you go.
You start talking about folks' wives and kids and stuff like that. Somebody go pop the trunk on you. So yeah, I ain't talking about to get the spare either. So
yeah,
and of course,
exactly.
I forgot one more with Randy Orton, him and Taker. BRF and I talked about it with favorite Undertaker moment, the promos with him and Taker. Especially how when Taker was playing mind games with Randy Orton, and how the father of Randy Orton, Cowboy Bob Orton, how they got involved. And remember when Randy Orton used, rest his soul, Eddie Guerrero's low rider and attacked Undertaker. So I mean, there's been a lot of great moments with Randy Orton. I mean, heel Randy Orton, but babyface though Randy Orton, I didn't mind babyface Randy Orton because it actually showed me a lot more about Randy Orton. And of course, one of my most favorite underrated wrestlers, Mick Foley. That backlash match with him and Randy Orton back in 2004. I mean, the way that Randy Orton had to go through that match with them thumbtacks behind his back, I mean, that was painful as hell. So, I mean, it's some really great Randy Orton moments. And, of course, him and Edge, though, too. So that's some good ones.
Mm-hmm.
Champ, favorite Randy Orton moment? I hope I didn't steal your thunder.
No, man, but you took some good ones, man. Number one, see him becoming the youngest heavyweight champion of all time, beating one of the all-time greats, regardless of, the controversies that happened. Because people don't remember that year, the person that he beat won. I mean, he started with his story. That year was the year of CB. From the Royal Rumble to WrestleMania, the Backlash, beating Triple H in an Iron Man match, beating Kane when he was arguably at his most dangerous. I mean, and everybody, it was just a foregone conclusion. And at least I thought, we all know that wrestling is not like other sports. We're not going to use certain words when it's choreography. Mm-hmm. But I almost knew this dude about to beat Randy Orton to sleep. I didn't even watch half the match. I caught it on the back end, even though I paid for the pay-per-view. I'm like, he finna get mashed, and, next month we're going to see, it's going to be another rematch between him and Triple H or him and Shawn Michaels. For him to beat him at his peak says a lot about how much trust they had in you at that moment. I mean, because if you really, really look at it, him and CB had the same caliber of a year. They had two of the biggest years you ever want to see. Randy Orton with the Rocky Sock connection, beating Mick Foley, winning the Intercontinental title, finally overcoming the Hardcore Legend. I mean, with the thumbtacks in his back, and then finally making it to the pinnacle in order to step out of the shadow of Evolution in order to become the youngest world heavyweight champion in history. We all knew that it was only a matter of time because back then Triple H didn't take too kindly of people trying to take his title. It was like breathing to him. But for him to be doing that on the grander stage during that year, that was nothing short of spectacular. Another one, man, look. Another one has to be with the Undertaker, Hell in the Cell. The Undertaker, Hell in the Cell, because that was spectacular. That was spectacular as well. For you to beat the Undertaker in a casket match, for you to redo what Kane did in Royal Rumble 1998 and set the casket on fire. And that was one of the biggest storylines ever. And at the end, the Undertaker taught him a lesson. Hey, this is what happens for those who try to look into the eyes of the dragon. If you really look at history, only one person that Undertaker couldn't teach a lesson to, and that was Brock Lesnar. You know, for everybody else, hey, when you face the Undertaker, you went to the woodshed. And guess what? He hung in there with him, man. You know, he beat the Undertaker in a casket match. And I mean, that's his match. You know, that's his match. To beat the Undertaker in a casket match, I mean, that's nothing short of spectacular, man. So, I mean, hey, Randy Orton, one of the greatest heels, one of the greatest superstars, arguably, of all time. You know, Evolution, for them to come from that big faction, past, present, and future, to those two guys really coming into their own. And not only that, man, give Triple H a lot of credit. Revived Ric Flair's career. Remember the cage match they had at Taboo Tuesday?
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, big ups to Triple H, man. You saw you saw a preview of what we're seeing now in his writing style and how he can, you know, carry a program. You saw a little bit of a preview with that, with Evolution and with Randy Orton in particular, coming into his own very, very early in his career. I mean, and not only that, although he lost the title a month later at Unforgiven, you know, because, you know, it's been documented that, you know, Randy has some immaturity issues. And when you're on top of the world at 23, hey, guess what? You're going to have them. You know, you think you the best thing since hot chocolate. So you're going to have some immaturity issues. You're going to mismanage yourself, you know. So for him to overcome that and be as big as he is now, I mean, being one of the biggest heels, arguably, in wrestling history, I put him right up there in top 5 heels. You know, he's up there. So, hey, big ups to Randy Orton, man. I mean,
big ups. Man, and especially to Triple H, which is why BRF has said he better get a shrine for the Hall of Fame. He better get his own category for the Hall of Fame at some point. Triple H, if anyone who deserves it, it should be him. Mitch, what's your favorite Randy Orton moment?
So I got a few. One, the curb stomp into the RKO against Seth Rollins at WrestleMania. That is arguably the best RKO in history. So there's that. You got Randy Orton punting John Cena's dad. Like, no one does that nowadays, man. No one does that. Now, they may go into something like that with Netflix in January, so I can see something like that happening then. You got RK Bro, right? Randy Orton and Matt Riddle. That's the other one. And not a lot of people talk about this, man. Not a lot of people talk about this. Randy Orton and Bray Wyatt. That feud that they had. I did not like their WrestleMania match, though. But when Randy Orton was doing his pose in front of Bray Wyatt's, haunted warehouse or whatever. So that was arguably one of the best Randy Orton storylines. I just hated the way it ended. So those are mine, man. Those are mine.
BRF.
Well, I've already said, and I'll add another year on. I've already said, and I'll continue to say it. 08, 09, heel Randy Orton is the greatest heel work I've ever seen. It's the greatest heel work I've ever seen. Whether it was punting all the McMahons to the feud he had, even though the WrestleMania 25 match it underachieved greatly. The feud leading up to it was one of the greatest things I've ever seen. I mean, the whole Randy Orton claiming the anger management issues, trying to use it as a cop out, doing some of the stuff he did, RKO and Stephanie in front of RKO and Stephanie, and then kissing her in front of Triple. I mean, just oh my God, the heel work was just there are very few heels that I watched that literally made me want to get in my car, drive to the arena and beat the hell out of them myself. But 08, 09, Randy Orton was one of those heels that make you want to just jump through the TV and just do something to him. Like, he was that evil. But as far as like my favorite moments, okay. Well, for starters, seeing him come back at Survivor Series this past year, at seeing him come back at Survivor Series War Games 2023, seeing him come back after not knowing if he was ever going to come back, being on the show for 18 months with that, having that back surgery, and for him to come back, in the type of shape he came in, but looking like he never missed a beat, and as guys that grew up with the young, immature, boisterous Randy Orton, to see like him as this fully grown just man who really kind of now really appreciates the business and takes it one day at a time and doesn't take anything for granted, but yet just has not lost a step. Seeing him come back in 2023, I was like, when I was kind of hearing he was going to come back, and then they made the announcement on the Raw, and then hearing the music and watching him walk down that aisle at Survivor Series, I was like, now this all is right in the world. Seeing John Cena and Randy Orton in any type of capacity on WWE TV nowadays, for me, still feels right. So seeing him back on a full-time basis doing this thing, I love it. The RKO out of nowhere is a moment in itself. And some of my greatest Randy Orton moments are some of the sick RKOs he's hit. In my opinion, I know some people say the Stunner is the greatest finisher in the history of wrestling. I think it's the RKO. I think the RKO is the greatest finisher in the history of wrestling. Just from the standpoint of the innovation, he can hit it from anywhere. And some in particular that stand out. The one against Evan Bourne, where he turned Airborne into the RKO before, I think it was the Go Home show for that Money in the Bank. And Evan Bourne was trying to hit the Airborne, and Randy Orton just got up like in split second and just turned into an RKO. I was just like, bro, I watched that clip every day for like 2 weeks straight. I had never seen something like that done before. It was insane. My favorite ones are that one, the one against Dolph Ziggler where they were having a killer match. And Dolph Ziggler, I think, tried to go up. He tried to go for like a Hurricane Rana, and Randy Orton held him in the powerbomb position. And then alley-oops him in the air and turns it into an RKO. I'm like, bro, how many more ways are you going to find to do this? And then one that really should be talked about more. It was a fatal 4-way match. It was RK Bro. It was Kevin Owens and Seth Rollins. It was Alpha Academy, and I think it was who was it? I think it was Street Profits.
Mm-hmm.
So Chad Gable climbs onto the top rope, thinking he's about to hit a moonsault. And as he's in the air, motioning in the moonsault, Randy Orton just leans back, falls back, catches him RKO, and I'm just like, bro. Like I said, I feel like the RKO is the greatest finisher in the history of wrestling. And oh yeah, that's right. And then the Survivor Series spot last year where they threw JD McDonough off the top of the cell and Randy Orton catches him and RKOs him. I'm just like, bro. Like I said, it's my favorite. It's my favorite. I think it's the greatest of all time. And then I'll give one more, and then we can move on. One more Randy Orton moment for me that not a lot of people talk about is the WrestleMania 27 feud with CM Punk, and that build up leading up to it, where like CM Punk had, it was the Nexus, it was the new Nexus. I think he had like just kicked Wade, like they had just turned on Wade Barrett and all that stuff. And it was always like, they were always jumping Randy Orton. So Randy Orton just goes and punts every single one of them out of their misery to set up the one-on-one match with CM Punk, which in my opinion was the show stealer of that, was one of the show stealers of that event. So yeah, that WrestleMania 27 feud with CM Punk is something not a lot of people talk about, but just the build up with Randy Orton taking out all of the new Nexus to make sure he gets CM Punk one-on-one and then he beats him. It was just, that's a feud nobody really talks about that I think should get more love, because that build up was really good. for that WrestleMania. So yeah, those are some of my all-time favorite Randy Orton moments. But my favorite one has got to be the it's like I said, it's the RKO for me, because the RKO is a moment in itself. The crazy ways he's hit them. So the RKO is my favorite Randy Orton moment, just because he has so many good ones.
There was one Randy Orton moment I did kind of like, though, was the one when he talked about Hulk Hogan. Remember Hulk Hogan and his daughter Brooke? Remember that one?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I swear, man, Randy Orton with his mic skills, man. There's him in the Ruthless era. There was CM Punk, Edge, Randy Orton, Cena, and there was some really good Triple H, of course, really good dudes on the mic, man. But fellas, it was a great on the pod, man. Great show on the pod as usual. Appreciate Grant for hopping on. Appreciate my man Mitch Kovsky, who is the co-founder of Hardcore Sports Network. Please go check out his pod, like and subscribe to the content, and so much more, man. He had to leave real quick. He had to leave, but always a pleasure having him on, man. Fellas, Sports PSP pod over 13,000. And we're just gonna continue growing. Last week, unfortunately, because Champ wasn't here, we did favorite Kurt Angle moment. Champ, I'll let you do a little Kurt Angle moment. What is your favorite one from the Olympic gold medalist?
It has to be that WrestleMania 21 matchup between him and Shawn Michaels, man.
Mm-hmm.
It has to be. I mean, that was one of the dream matches that you've always wanted to see. The build up to it, it felt real. It felt super real. And I could honestly relate, and and it felt like something that you could relate to. I'm doing something that's special to my country. I'm out here with a broken neck, and I'm out here wrestling, and they're out here talking about you doing a new generation era. Arguably one of the greatest matches of all time when you think about the Iron Man match, but this is the new generation era. One of the lost eras in wrestling history. I'm just gonna keep it real. But they're talking about you over me, and I'm on the grandest stage, and they're talking about how you came out of the sky and had a wrestling clinic with the great Bret Hart. That's something that you can relate to, man. And not only that, man. Last one, I'll be quick. The 6-man Hell in a Cell match, for him to win that against some of the greatest superstars, or for you to win against Taker, Rock, Triple H, Rikishi, just to name a few. Those guys that he won against.
You left out one more.
Stone Cold.
Yeah,
Austin. My bad.
No, it's all good.
For you to win against those guys, those five. When you think about Triple H, The Rock, Austin, Taker, those guys personified the late new generation and the 4 guys that you could almost credit on the WWE side that changed wrestling forever. And for you to go over on all 6 of those guys in Hell in a Cell, no less, is amazing. I mean, we will see guys win a elimination chamber again. We'll see guys win everything again, any type of match again. We'll see guys, I don't think we'll ever see an Inferno match ever again or a Buried Alive match ever again, but we'll see guys win matches where the odds are just seemingly against you. But for you to win Hell in a Cell, 6 men with 6 of the greatest, with 5 other, and don't sell Rikishi short either. Before he was forced to turn heel, he was one of the biggest. I mean, he was you heard one of the biggest pops you're ever going to hear for a person when he came out there and dancing with Too Cool. For you to beat those guys who personified the Attitude Era, all of them in Hell in a Cell, for you to beat the odds like that, and for you to just reel off that win, which was a career-defining win at Armageddon, no less. That was amazing, man. So Hell in a Cell and WrestleMania 21, greatest two Kurt Angle moments. Thank you for letting me elaborate on that, PSP.
Anytime. I just wanted to get your input. I always love your opinion and perspective. Again, like I would say the rivalry between he and Eddie Guerrero, God rest his soul. I mean, WrestleMania 20, SummerSlam 2004. Crazy Kurt Angle moment I did mention. Remember, champ, when he shot Big Show in the back with the tranquilizer dart?
That was you know, I'm not gonna lie, I kind of cringed when I saw that a little bit, you know, as a child. You know, I kind of cringed, like, y'all just doing anything on TV right about now, ain't it? But you know, that was the only way you was gonna get a guy like the Big Showdown was hit him with a dart. That's a big dude. That's a lot of size and girth right about there, you know. But that was a very, very interesting feud, man. And let's not forget earlier before that, you know, Big Show got him, and you know, with the Torrie Wilson incident, you know.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, man.
I don't want to.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't want to go into it, but you get what I'm saying, you know.
No, but Hot Take Kenny already mentioned it last week on the show, just in case, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna give y'all some homework for next week. For favorite music song from the great Alicia Keys. So we're gonna do favorite Alicia Keys song for next week, and for wrestling, I'll tell y'all in another time. But don't worry, we're gonna have a great show next week, just like we have it now, and just like we've always had on the Sports PSP pod. And fellas, final words.
Always a privilege, a pleasure, and an honor. Congratulations to you on almost. We're gonna speak life into this, man. We speak life into everything. Always think one step above. Hey, congratulations on 14,000. We're just gonna speak life into that. It's already done. Always a privilege, a pleasure, and an honor to share the stage with both of you, man. Appreciate the opportunity in order to be on your platform. You know, so people can see myself, and so I can team up with you, man. You the first person. I will always give you credit to ever invite me to a podcast. And ever since then, it's been clear sailing. So, you know, I appreciate that, man. And BRF, man, hey, I'm gonna just be real. Last night, you put on the show, man, especially with that baseball segment, man, because hey, check it. Hey, go to the Undisputed GOAT podcast and check out that last segment with him and Flash. That is something special, man. That I watched that like 3 times when I was at work, bro.
BRF, man, final words, man.
Man, and PSP, man, it's always fun getting on here with you, doing what we do best, man, and talking sports and having fun. It's always a pleasure. And it's like I said it before, the way Champ gives you props for putting him on the map, Champ put me on the map with those TikTok lives after football Sundays. Champ put me on the map. And I'm owing him a lot, you know, with him spreading my name out, getting into you, and you invite me on. And it's just like one, you know, just I just feel so many good things coming out of this for all 3 of us. And I mean, it's an honor being on here. I'm telling you, man, I already love both of y'all like brothers, man. It's amazing what things will do when you got the right people around you. And Champ said it, man. Yeah, we gonna put 14, 15, 16,000 in the L because you deserve every bit of success that you're getting and is gonna continue to get. And Champ, same with you, because I know that podcast with you, me and Flash, we gonna blow up. I'm speaking it into existence. And it's like I always say, and I'm gonna continue to say it because I roll by it and I live by it through my podcast. And that is a topic not thought about, is a topic not talked about. And we're gonna continue to strive and we're gonna continue to push forward. And we're gonna continue to give some of y'all the best content on this app, bar none, because this is what we do. thank y'all so much. Thank y'all for just giving me the opportunity for showing myself and just kind of spreading my knowledge out there, and just showing people, hey, I can do this. Champ's a master at this, Sports PSP's a master at this. We all can do this, and we're gonna continue to do this. So shout out, y'all, my brothers in this, and we gonna keep it moving.
Absolutely. Stay tuned, folks, for next week's episode of the Sports PSP Pod. Also, go check out some big time college football. And Thursday night, rematch of the AFC Championship game between the Baltimore Ravens and the Kansas City Chiefs. So, BRF, world champ, and of course, Sports PSP is going to talk. Shout out to great other content creators as well. Grant. Shout out to Broad. You want to say something, BRF?
Yes, I do, and I kind of want to I hate putting like a somber note on this, but even though we don't talk a lot about hockey, I want to send prayers and condolences to the family of Johnny Gaudreau, winger for the Columbus Blue Jackets. Him and his brother was unfortunately lost their lives in an accident by a drunk driver. I just want to send prayers and condolences to the family. That man was only 31 years old, but he was coming into his own as a really, really good winger and a really, really good hockey player. So I definitely want to send prayers and condolences out to his family, because you hate hearing about tragedies like that. And I just kind of wanted to get it out there so the public can know, so they can go to the Columbus Jackets page, whether it's Twitter, whether it's their IG, show that franchise some love, because they lost one of their bright lights of that franchise, man. So send the Columbus Blue Jackets love, send the Gaudreau family some love. Just let them know we're thinking about them.
Yes,
Absolutely, will do. Appreciate you for mentioning that, BRF. Fellas, always a pleasure having y'all on the pod. The audience, y'all enjoy the rest of y'all weekend. Y'all enjoy some college football or whatever it is that y'all doing. I know I'm gonna be enjoying myself watching some college football, having me a good margarita or two. But always a pleasure, man. And again, we're not gonna stop. We're gonna continue to grow with the podcast, and we're gonna do great things. Like I said, next week, favorite Alicia Keys song. So stay tuned on that. And we got so much to look forward to for the podcast. And y'all know where to follow me at, folks. Sports PSP. Like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Follow me on IG as well as TikTok Sports PSP3. The latest episode, favorite Kurt Angle one, is out right now. I'll put out some more content later tonight or tomorrow. And enjoy the rest of y'all weekend. And we is out. Peace.